Welcome back to the Hunt Studio. Yes, today I have a very cool project because, I don't know, it's a really cool project, I think. This is actually something that I do a lot of, and so I think it's finally time for me to actually turn around and start teaching you how to do exactly what I'm about to do. I have a secret. This piece you can't see the face of because it is a commission piece and it's going to be a video very soon, but this is a tabletop and as you can see, I'm painting on top of that, and it's super duper duper nice, super cool, super secret. But the one we want to focus on is actually right here. This right here. Secret. So this right here, this big giant piece I actually found on Facebook Marketplace, and I found it on the Marketplace. And it is actually, if you can't tell, it is humongous. This thing is huge. This thing is giant. I mean, it's just way too big. I can't even you can tell. You can see the difference. This is a good size piece of furniture for this apartment. This is just way too big. And I thought about just simply getting rid of it by selling it or just putting a coat of paint on it and sell it. But this right here is kind of like the editing powerhouse. This is where I do a lot of my work. And if you can't tell, this right here is a little small, right? This is a little bitty table. So I think what I'm going to do is actually I want to teach you how I got to this point with this table with that right there. All right, so actually what we've got to do is, because we're in such a small space, we have to get this done. We're going to have to move this outside in order to make this work. I don't think it's gonna be too bad. Oh, look at that, seamless. Oh, almost got out of here without touching anything. I have my custom measurements written down here, so I'm actually gonna take the time to do this. So I have 58 by 28 by 30. So the 30 has already got the height done. 58 inches is going to be this way. So how we're gonna get that is simply measure the current length of what it is right now. Just got to measure what it is, which I believe is 61. We're going to take this level here and make this level, and then measure 2 inches in. Level 2 inches in. Okay, so I measured with this, measured 2 inches in from here, and on the other end, 2 inches at each end, and then I took this board and lined up the marks. And so with the marks lined up, I'm just gonna take and draw a straight line here, and that's gonna be our cut line. We're gonna cut that. From here, since we want it to be 58 inches long, we're gonna take from that line and pull a tape measure all the way 28 inches and then pop a line here. Ooh, that's close. Oh my gosh, that's so close. Okay. Okay, obviously, I forgot that I was teaching. Right. I'm not much of a teacher, so I just got kind of in the zone and just forgot to talk my way through the process. So what actually is happening is, you saw me already pull 2 inches. I pulled a line 2 inches on one side, and from that 2 inch line, I pulled a tape measure all the way to that custom measurement. I wanted it to be a 58 by 28 inch table, and that's just the custom measurements that I got for my just for my setup. And so I pulled that from that 2 inch line. I pulled 58 inches, and I did the exact same thing on the other side of it. So I pulled that 2 inch line, and then I pulled 28 inches from that line, and then I used this piece of board. I would recommend getting something straighter than just a warped piece of fence board that I took off from an old project, but it worked. It worked just fine, so we're just gonna roll with it. Okay, now that this thing is marked up, I have to actually take the top off I have to take off the tabletop and remove it from the legs here because we're gonna do something completely separate with the legs. Yeah. I started out by simply flipping this thing over and using simple hand tools such as a flathead screwdriver and a set of pliers. I just worked on taking these legs off. And then once I got the legs off, I went around with a hammer and a chisel and I wiggled the little band off. I don't know the official name to call this band, but it's a band. Like it's what helps support the legs and helps support the top, keeping it from flexing. And then afterwards, I just took my time with the cutting part. This is the part where you cut it. And I just used the same piece of wood, and then with a clamp, I took my skill saw and went to town with it. Just lined it up, take your time. That black Sharpie line that we put on there, we drew with the, from our measurements, that's the line that I'm cutting. I'm taking my time with it. This is the part where if you have a table saw, it'd be nice to have a table saw, but we don't operate like that right now. We keep everything relatively small. So we're just taking our sweet old precious time with it. Yes? Take good time. And then once you simply just line it up, right? I'm babbling, good Lord. Line it up, cut it, take your time with it, and do it to all four corners on the Sharpie line.
Okay, so the table used to be a giant table that had a leaf, and this section here would you can unclamp this little clamping system and then slide it open. It would slide open and close so that you can put a leaf in it. But what I want to do is I want to make it structurally sound, and so I'm going to pop some pocket holes on the bottom of it, completely remove this thing right here, this little system, just pop it together with some pocket holes and just kind of move on with it. And then I'm going to try and take that seam, match it up perfectly, and then get a good wood filler on it and call it done.
Starting off this part of the process, again, taking just a good old flathead screwdriver, taking all those old screws out of the back, removing that little sliding mechanism. Happy to get rid of a little bit of weight on this thing. Happy to modernize this thing. So with some pocket holes, actually, this is the kit. You can go to Lowe's or Home Depot or somewhere and buy all of these tools to use the pocket hole system here. I actually bought the cheapest one, the clamp, the whole thing, the screws and all. I think it ended up being like $40. And I think you can buy one that's like $100 and it's the entire kit. But just using the simple method here again, keeping it relatively small, popping these little 1 1/4 inch screws into the back of this board. I think I used 3 holes. Made it nice and tight and secure. And with this, actually, all it did was join the two pieces of the top together. It didn't make them structurally sound, but that's what we're going to be doing next. The next part of this process is going to keep these two pieces from flexing at all.
Next thing I'm going to do is sand this thing. I've got my sander, right? And then I've also got some sandpaper. You're supposed to have 80. It's recommended to have 80, 120, and 220 grit sandpaper, but I don't have any 80. So we're just going to kind of run with the 120, 220, and just kind of run with it. Okay.
There's nothing really crazy to note about sanding, except for the fact that this is to prepare for paint. So whenever I get it nice, I want it nice and smooth for paint. And also it's very, very, very important to take your time with this process. It's 3 separate sheets of sandpaper. Just take your time and you will not regret it. If you rush into it, there will be swirls, scratches, and it'll just be awful. It'll be a bad time. This line right here is his. The green one. This
Hello,
one's here, this. I wanted to leave some of it there. And then obviously I recorded it, so it's like documented. The lines that he got put in here. They're covered up now, but you know, that was like the first 2 layers.
It's still there.
It's there. Yeah.
You can help me. You can do this one. You can do that one.
No, you got yours, Asher.
Can I borrow some of your paint? Hey, Dad. Hey, don't eat my chip. I have paint on my bed.
Mm-hmm. Pay attention.
Hello, please. What's your name? It's okay. I just throw. Hey, Dad.
Huh.
Guess what? You can get the back where my tail is. Just not my whole life. That's where my tail is. Okay, Daddy?
I understand what you're trying to say, but you are getting a whole bath. An entire bath.
Okay. I'll go get in. I'll go get in the little bath.
You're even getting the bath.
With the, no, I'll go get in the little bath.
Alright, let's see.
I don't want to take a bath. I was joking. I was just going to take a bath. I don't want to take it, Mom. I'm not done.
You done? Okay. Okay, I have a couple of different options for clear coat, and the method that I've gone with for just about every single project that I've done is polyurethane. And one of these is oil-based. I believe this one is oil-based, and this one is water-based. And they're both a semi-gloss satin look. And I think for the base, for the legs and whatnot, I'm going to use this one coat polyurethane just to get this over with quickly. And then whenever I go for the top, I'm going to use the clear satin. You can use either one, doesn't matter. Use which one you want. This is mine. Okay. Hopefully now, maybe you get the idea. Hopefully you can use a little bit of imagination, but this is the final product. The final product as far as the how-to part. This is going to be a 2-part video. Of course, I'm an artist. I like to paint. I like to make videos. I like to draw. I like to DIY stuff. I like to grow plants. I like to do all kinds of cool, weird, creative stuff. And so that means this table is not done yet, of course. So I'm actually gonna paint something on the tabletop because, I mean, I've done it 3 or 4 times now and I actually really, really like it. It's my preferred method of things. But this table is actually way superior, this one here, over this one, because there's like this little part that sinks way too low and it prevents this chair from sliding all the way underneath. But this one I don't think is gonna have a problem at all. Oh yeah, oh yeah. This is like, now I can work real comfy and have plenty of space. Good gracious. This is nice. This is gonna be super nice. Is put a clear coat on the top of it, right? I have not put the clear coat on it because I'm gonna paint on it. So there's no point in clear coating it and then painting it and then clear coating it again. There's no point in doing all that. So I'm just gonna paint it and then I'm gonna do a good clear coat. So actually, this is, oh my gosh, this is my studio, by the way. This is the studio, this little corner, this little crevice of my house. And it's coming along so well. I'm so invested in it at this point. It's just, it's so good. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much. This is the Hunt Studio, and I'm gonna get out of here right now after I whirly bird around here. See ya.